Hi guys, my name is Kimberly Roth and this is my Internet Use Violations case study for school law. Right, to answer what do I know? Well, Miss Walker is a beginning teacher. This is her second year at Roosevelt High School. And parents and students have complained about her classroom instructions and her high level of academic expectations. Dr. Forbes, the principal, has given her some suggestions to improve her relationship with her students, and she has not been able to successfully implement those things. This finally leads us to this current situation where Miss Walker has been emailed a link to a website that has highly suggestive comments, criticism of her teaching, vulgar curse words, and the statement, "Who wants Miss Walker to disappear?" So some of the things I'd still like to know about is whether or not the phrase, "Who wants Miss Walker to disappear?" is that really a credible death threat, or is that truly something that's harmless? I'd also like to know how widespread the viewing of this website has been, whether a lot of students have seen it, or if it's just a few people have seen this website. I also like to know where this website is, who's been hosting it, if there's any way to remove or flag this website as being inappropriate. I'd also like to know about our legal resources for our school, whether we have a legal team to deal with issues such as this. So I actually identified two different problems. This first one I felt was kind of the primary, most critical, acute threat at the moment. And that is that Miss Walker feels unsafe. And some of the supporting details from the case was when Miss Walker was talking with Dr. Forbes on the phone, she says, "I may not be safe alone in my apartment tonight." Secondly, Miss Walker states twice on the phone that someone suggested to kill her. Miss Walker asks Dr. Forbes if she needs to call the police, and Miss Walker feels like she needs to spend the night with her parents instead of being at home at her apartment. So all of those things to me indicate that Miss Walker really feels unsafe. So kind of the secondary problem that I felt was more ongoing rather than critically acute at this point was that Miss Walker's methods of teaching was causing academic stress for students. And some of the supporting details for that was Dr. Forbes had received numerous phone calls from concerned parents regarding her teaching strategies. The suggestions Dr. Forbes had given for Miss Walker had not been followed through on. She was unsuccessful in her attempts to implement them. And also Miss Walker was able to identify a student that she felt didn't like her and was causing trouble in the classroom. And I just think that anytime you have a student that doesn't like you, that's cause for concern. So my proposed plan of action would include three things. My first goal would be to mitigate the damage the website has done to Miss Walker. My second goal would be to help relieve the tension between Miss Walker and her students and parents. And my third goal would be encourage good digital citizenship by all my staff and students. We'll take a look at each of those three different strategies and we'll kind of give some more details on them. So the first one was to mitigate damage to Miss Walker. So to do that, we're going to contact legal resources to see how we're supposed to deal with this. What is the legal way that we're supposed to go about doing things? We need to determine whether police should be contacted. I'd like to get technical support on board to see if we can identify the person who sent the email and posted the website. Hopefully they have a little more information than I do on how to track those sources down. Then I want to look into investigating the students to see if we can figure out who is involved. We want to look into ways to remove the website posting. And also we want to talk to Miss Walker and see what kind of things she needs to feel safe again. So we want to provide some resources to her, either counseling, a friend, a mentor, whatever we can do to support her in this situation. So looking at our second goal is to reduce tension between Miss Walker and her students and parents. We want to take away that problem entirely. So to do that, we're going to meet with Miss Walker to revisit those strategies to reduce the stress and increase positive interactions with Miss Walker and her students. I also would look at implementing a teacher improvement plan for Miss Walker that includes some timelines and some consequences for not meeting certain goals. Basically, we want to make sure that our plan is followed through with. We want to make sure Miss Walker has a good mentor teacher. Again, she's a new teacher, so having a mentor would be a great thing. I want to increase the classroom visits that administration does to Miss Walker's classroom. And I also want to look into what we need to do in case we don't want to rehire Miss Walker for the next year. Sometimes that can be a little bit of a legal process, paper trail. I don't think she'll have tenure yet. I think that usually occurs around 3 years. But we want to look at that as a worst case scenario. So my final thing is to encourage good digital citizenship. And anytime we have a situation that occurs with online technology, we want to re-emphasize that good digital citizenship in all the classrooms. So all teachers can have a little speech about it. We can also have an assembly meeting and talk about what it looks like to be a good digital citizenship. We can contact law enforcement to come in and talk with our students. We can also have posters and brochures around the school to talk about what it is to actually be a good part of online society. So our goal is to resolve the issue to promote the academic success and personal well-being of every student. We want to keep students at the center of learning. So to do that, we want to alleviate the stress that students are feeling in Ms. Walker's class and create a healthy emotional climate for learning. We also don't want students to have personal animosity towards their teachers. In the case with Randy Franks, Ms. Walker felt that he didn't like her, and that's always a very negative thing, in my opinion, to have a student not like their teacher. We also want to foster and encourage appropriate digital citizenship to provide a safe environment for all students. If students feel like that they are being able to be bullied online or see a situation where the teacher is bullied, that can cause some concern for safety. So some of the data that we already mentioned a little bit of is students and parents complain of feeling high stress due to the rigor of the classes and serious approach taken by Ms. Walker, which leads us to the resolution to reduce student stress. We just talked about Ms. Walker reporting that Randy Walker doesn't like her. And again, that leads us to the resolution to reduce student animosity towards the teacher. And we also have an incident that has taken place where a teacher received an email and had a website with some very negative content toward her. And again, that leads us to the resolution to encourage good digital citizenship. All right, so some of the things that I was thinking about what resources I have available to me, such as legal, law enforcement, school board. I would like to have as many resources available to me to deal with this situation. I was thinking that this email website incident might be a result of an ongoing problem rather than just a one-time thing. I was thinking about what strategies would ultimately solve this problem, as well as immediate steps to take. So I want to ultimately solve this situation as well as deal with this imminent problem. So some of the things that I was feeling, I felt compassion for Ms. Walker. I know she's experiencing a lot of fear and frustration, and I really want to support her through all of this. I was feeling frustration at my lack of knowledge on how to deal with some of these different legal ramifications and so forth with this situation. I was feeling the need for help from those who have more experience and knowledge with these issues. So some of the things that I was valuing Ms. Walker's need to feel safe. I think we all need to feel safe. I was valuing the concerns and feelings of my parents and students and their frustrations with Ms. Walker's teaching style. And I was valuing good digital citizenship skills to help prevent situations like the one Ms. Walker is experiencing. So 3 issues that I felt are unresolved or need further investigation was, first of all, the offending website is still up there. It's still a problem. It needs to be taken down. Secondly, Ms. Walker feels unsafe in her apartment alone. She is currently staying at her parents' house, which is 3 hours away. And finally, we don't know who sent the email or created the website, and I'd kind of like to know who the culprit of this is. So to show how I promoted the success of every student, first of all, I want to take care of the well-being of my teachers. Meeting the needs of my teachers will then help them be able to teach students effectively. So in essence, in order to have your students learn well and to be successful, you need your teachers to feel safe and have a good sense of well-being. Secondly, to take the concerns of my students and parents seriously. When a student has a concern or a parent has a concern, I want to have them know they can come to me and I will listen to them and try to help find a solution to their problems. And finally, I want to encourage and foster a safe environment for my students. I want them to feel like they can use technology safely and know the rules of how to do it responsibly. All right, some of the ways that I felt I treated people fairly, equitably, and with dignity and respect was to listen to the current concerns, to listen to the concerns of Miss Walker and taking action to help her feel safe again. Secondly, to listen to the concerns of my parents and students and look to find solutions to their problems they're having. I also look for support from my teachers, like other mentor teachers, health professionals, law enforcement. I want to give as much support to Miss Walker as I can in this situation. So some of the ways that I feel I can adhere to ethical principles and professional norms would be to collaborate with other professionals to find solutions. I think collaborating with those who have knowledge and information experience is always a great way to be a professional teacher or administrator. Secondly, I want to follow the guidelines of how to deal with teacher issues and performance improvement. Usually a handbook or teacher's manual has some of the guidelines of how to deal with problems, and I want to make sure as an administrator I follow those in the right way. And finally, I want to seek out my legal team. A lot of times you're dealing with legal issues when you talk about threats and other problems, so I want to make sure that I have those people on board to help me through this. So my professional standards are PSEL number 2C. As a future administrator, I will make children and their academic success and overall well-being my highest priority. And secondly, PSEL number 6H. As a future administrator, I will work to ensure the personal and professional well-being of my staff, including trying to ensure he or she feels safe. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.